What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast, Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa, as per usual, joined by none other than Tyler Hurriwind Whitney with a beautiful shirt on, man. Really, it was very much worth us having to wait a little bit to start the podcast for you to put that shirt on, so thanks, man. Aggro, can you leak what shirt he was wearing before? I can. It was a very nice-looking gray Under Armour t-shirt. That was very, very nice. Why'd you have to change, T? What?
You guys are ruining my podcast experience, okay, guys?
It was a great shirt. I don't know why you changed.
But this is a good shirt too. I don't know. It's a little bit of a different color, you know, rocking the United. I got respect for it, so I guess I can't talk too much.
I didn't have time to fix my headset hair though, so you can only get 1 or 2 shirt or headset hair. And I made my decision.
You made your decision. We all have to respect that. Hurry, we've been going roll by roll here on the podcast. It's time to talk mid lane, and we figured it was perfect time to bring you in order to talk about it, because you were tweeting some genius stuff the other night. You know, if you're dumb enough to get hit by my Scylla 2, you should die, and not just hold 1.8k on your head. We're gonna talk about how good Scylla is, I think, in a little bit, but before we get into mid lane specific stuff, we've been asking everybody about their general feelings on the Season 8 map in their limited playtime, though, now that it is fully released and we've gotten a chance to play a lot, we know more. But yeah, BaRRa, not you. You don't talk at all. Hurry, give us your thoughts on the Season 8 map so far.
Just like general thoughts?
Yeah, general thoughts. Like, how are you liking it?
I think it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of like new stuff on the map, so I think that's fun. There's like anything from like the door to the scorpions to like the upgraded buffs to just the starter items. I think like everything just feels really new and fresh, so you know, that's pretty much all we're looking for. I feel like at past a certain point, play the game long enough, you just want something new. Yeah, and that's what it is. And it's not like horribly broken, or at least like people haven't had time to horribly break it yet. Not too bad, at least. So
I'm sure it will happen sooner rather than later. The other question we've been asking everybody is more of a global thing, is about the global anti-heal changes. It affects mid more than most other roles, I would say, because Aphrodite, Hell, those gods, and Ra, those gods kind of dominated towards the back half of last year. How do you feel about that change in general, and how impactful do you think it's going to be on the mid meta?
Well, the most impactful thing that I've noticed is that it takes up a slot on my buff bar. And Agreed. It hides my other buffs sometimes. I actually don't even know, like, if I have, like, an upgraded version of Red the other day. I was like, I think I do, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's a stupid anti-healing buff.
You have, like, 9 or 10 things on your bar, and you're like, why?
Well, you're buffing up,
I have
dude.
so many. Yeah, there's
you're buffed.
I think something needs to happen there. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I want it gone. But
in general, I think, like, I don't know. I think it's like been pretty good. People want to build anti-heal less too, which is kind of weird because like you just see 30%. You didn't really want to build it before, so I think people will come around. But it has been kind of weird because I feel like healers have still been good because people just don't want to build anti-heal, like with the build path right now, at least in mid and maybe jungle too. So kind of complicated.
Yeah, I just can't be asked to build any anti-heal. Deso feels too good. Rod feels too good. I don't want to buy Deso or Divine 4th. Don't really want to buy Deso 4th either.
You only got 5 slots.
And I only got 5 slots, so it looks like I'm not buying it every single game. BaRRa, I think it might be time for the Hunters to build the anti-heal. You know, like we've been doing it for so long in mid. Maybe it's your turn to take up the mantle?
No.
What do you mean, dude?
I don't think so, because, you know, Toxic Blade kind of...
What do you mean? It's movement speed and health and attack speed and flat pen.
Shablanc applies brawlers on his bolas, right?
I would assume not. I would assume that does not work that way.
I do not know.
I don't know.
I assume if you've done that before, you've been reported.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I see a Givalanke building brawlers beat stick, I'm gonna have some words for that man.
Remember, you have to do damage as well for them to die.
Yes, yeah, you do. What do you mean? Okay, you just start going crit build and go Shadow Steel Shuriken.
Oh yeah. Wait, did they buff that item?
That could be okay, actually.
I think so. Yeah, it sounds like it's your job now.
Yeah, no. There's something that the bolas proc. And I'm pretty sure it's brawlers.
Why would it? Does it? Does it proc like
I'm like
Crusher?
90% sure that it like procs it on the the
Okay.
bolas.
All right. Let's say for the okay. Wait. We're getting too hung up on if it does. If it does do that, it's still not good, right? Like it's still. Let's say it does. It's just bad, right?
We'll see. If
Okay.
I'm the one that's got to build the anti-heal and they have like a raw set, I mean, I better hope that the bolo's proc. I better hope that he's not diving by himself. But yeah, back to mid lane.
No, BaRRa. It sounds like you've got ideas to share. I mean, if you're
I
coming,
have a lot of ideas.
if you're coming in hot with Brawlers Beatstick Xbalanque, I think that you're in a good spot to lead this discussion. So please take it away.
I could go toxic as well. I need some attack speed because Brawlers obviously doesn't have any.
Right.
I could slam a Dominance, full AA based, and then slam like an Oboe, and then maybe a Titan's Bane last.
That sounds good.
Well, I get a lot of flat pin from Toxic and Brawlers, and I get a lot of percent pin from Dominance. And Titans. So, and then my darts would hit really hard, and I'd have a lot of
and your
anti-heal.
dash would slam, dude.
Yeah, that thing would still hit for like 250. So.
Do you remember when Xbalanque dashed like one-shot people?
Well, okay. Those were the good old days, and then they nerfed Xbalanque, and then they like buffed Xbalanque, and he's just forever been like a really weird space, I think.
Yeah. Maybe we should just make the dash one-shot again. T, would you play him in mid if we're dash one-shotting people?
No, dude, that god is not fun. I'm not playing that god. God's not fun for anybody.
Wait,
let's just keep him in the back.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, you live in the past, okay? You live in your nostalgia season 1, season 2, boy. The rest of us have moved
Janice
on, okay?
Main? What?
Well, hey.
Okay, Janice, it feels to me like he just came out, okay? Like he's way newer, okay, than
They made it so much easier for you to play the character.
That's not my fault.
You think T was
Don't
missing
look at me.
unstable vortexes before? I don't think so. I don't think the character has been changed for T at all.
I've only seen Hurry hit ults. I've never seen him hit a 2.
Well, that's because you're dead from the ult.
That's actually criminal.
Exactly.
You'd think you'd wait till the end of the podcast to say something like that, but now you've gone and said it towards the. You said it now, and it's you just set the wrong mood for the rest of the podcast. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Wait, T, you actually.
I have one thing. Okay? I have one thing. You can't take that away from a man because when a man has nothing to lose, then that's when he's at his most dangerous. Okay.
A caged animal is.
So
definitely
I'll
dangerous.
just pretend like you didn't say that for now.
you.
For everyone else to say.
Well, I'm still going to ask about it. Can you still one-shot with yellow damage?
You mean?
On
Oh
the
yeah.
ult, like proc
So like
damage?
if they had 80% health and you had soul gem proc, you'd kill them.
That's okay. That's fine.
I was gonna say it's kind of a nerf to the Hannes, like the change, because like I said, you're not missing 2s, and now the ult only does 80% max damage.
The ult, it's 75. First of all, it's 75, and second of all, it never did that much. And if you're ulting across the map, you're playing the character, like you're just doing it for fun.
Right.
But like, you never got like full scaling on the ult hit anyway, so that just doesn't really matter. I don't think at all.
What's the full scaling line?
You saying like how much like?
Yeah, like how far does that have to be away?
Oh, it's pretty far. I'd say it's like, I could be wrong, but I think it's like red buff to red buff. Like if you.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah,
it's
I
like
wanted to say
something like
about
that
red to
far.
red.
It's not like across the map actually, but it's far enough where like you're just probably pretty lucky.
At a distance greater than 800.
Oh, so it's probably farther than red buff to red buff. That's probably like back camps to red buff, if I had to guess. I don't know. I'm not going out there and measuring auto attack range. If someone in chat wants to go out and auto attack their way 55 units down for 800 units, that's totally fine. But you can do your thing. Also, Archmages, as someone put it in chat, Archmages and Soul Gem.
Yeah, they both are separate.
Yeah,
Soul Reaver as well.
You're gonna nail it, dude. Neil says tier 2 to tier 2 is exactly 800 units. He measured it.
I mean, if he measured it, then like obviously he did the math.
And that's why he's the 2-time world champ, man. That's
how reliable are his measurements? That's what we have to ask.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point, but I mean, Neil is a 2-time and he's the reigning MVP, so I didn't measure it. Okay, great, Neil. Thanks for your contribution to the podcast. That's really great work by you, man. Anyways, let's talk mid laners. Because
ladies don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Neil anymore. Vampiric Shroud is the first new starter item. We've been kind of talking about starter items first, and then we'll talk about overall build path. Vamp Shroud is the first one. And here's where my thoughts begin and end on Vamp Shroud. On Anubis, the character that I think Vamp Shroud would theoretically work the best on because it lets him be a little bit more aggressive with the physical prot and all that kind of stuff. Vamp Shroud has so little power that with Vamp Shroud and Tiny Trinket and Red Buff, you can't Plague of Locusts clear the archers at level 1. And if I'm not clearing archers with level 1 as Anubis, why am I picking this item? How do you feel about it, T?
Yeah, I told you like I had an experience in a ranked game where this happened, and then I was against Ven, I think, and he was playing Mannequin Scepter Soul, and I just did my thing. I moseyed up on the first wave.
Right.
I autoed him to group the wave. I'm doing my thing. I know how to play Anubis, okay? Level 1.
Yep.
I Plague of Locust. The archers are all 1 HP, and first of all, I'm autoing the archers. I'm like, dear God, like, please die so I can hit level 2 so I can at least, like, slow this guy and live or something. But my attack speed is also slowed because I've got stupid Mannequin Scepter on me. And I died. And, of course, the game was completely over beyond that. Let's not even pretend like the game is salvageable mentally or physically after that.
It's not.
And I learned my lesson. I will not be going that item anymore. I don't care if it has 20 prots on it because I just clear so slow. Like, you know, mid, I think it's a lot of farm right now. Similar, I would say it's comparable to, like, start of the last season. But you can't farm it efficiently without the mana sustain from Conduit Gem. It's kind of not comparable, and you just don't have any power comparatively. I think the upgrades are fine, but
yeah, Blood-Soaked Shroud and Sacrificial Shroud. Blood-Soaked Shroud seems really cool because it can give you infinite lifesteal. But you're either if you're like who would I buy Blood-Soaked Shroud on? It would only be like Anubis, and with Anubis, if I'm going like Lifesteal Boots, Bancroft's Typhons, I'm either healing to full off one ability or I'm anti-healed and I'm dead. So the infinite lifesteal stack doesn't really matter for him. So I don't think that Blood-Soaked is very good. Sacrificial Shroud, on the other hand, this is the one that I think is exciting. 100 power, 100 health, 20 physical protection, 15% lifesteal, and your abilities deal 15% more, or maybe is it still 15? I'm reading the initial patch notes. I don't know if that got nerfed to 10 or if it's still 15.
It's 15.
But they cost 5% of your maximum health. That's good. That is definitely good, but you still have to buy Vamp Shroud early on, and that doesn't feel that good to me. And, like, fitting a Bancrofts in your build right now feels basically impossible. Like, where do I ever fit Bancrofts in a build? Have you been experimenting with that at all, T?
I think if you're gonna go for that, like you're gonna start Vamp Shroud. First of all, I don't think it's like that bad. I just personally have had bad experiences with it. But if you're gonna go that build, I think you can just go the Bancroft's Typhons build and it be fine. Like I did it on PTS a while ago, and like it didn't feel bad. Like I had Anubis ult with Typhons, Bancrofts, and the Sacrificial Shroud, yeah.
Yep.
And I was just like ulting, like just plain ulting without using any other abilities, and I was just doing a disgusting amount of damage.
Yep.
And so I think it's like still viable, but the other items just kind of seem a little bit stronger and more consistent, and you have more sustain, and it's a little bit easier to farm. And that's just like too many positives, I think.
Yeah.
I think like if you're a jungler, like I see Scream and Chat, he's making me laugh. Like you see that 20 prots and like you go on the guy and you just deal like 20 less damage and auto attack, and you're just like, oh my God, this guy's invincible. So like I know from his point of view, like he probably thinks that item's really good, and I probably am underrating it a bit, but I do think you're kind of gimping yourself early game to build it. If you didn't go starter item, I actually think you could. It might be the best one, the Sacrificial Shroud, to build late game, like 5% HP. Like in my opinion, you're either gone on and you're dead and you're out of position, or you're probably full HP a lot of the times. There's a lot of the mages that seem strong right now for the fight. So that 5% HP or 15% HP, whatever you end up spending, it probably doesn't feel that impactful. You probably just lifesteal it as soon as you get the ability to, right? So
yeah, you get 15% lifesteal. Yeah, I guess you could maybe do like the Purple Boots rush, because you wouldn't get to red in time, would you? Well, you get the pyro buff. I don't know. I'd have to test if you get to red in time. If I had to guess, I wouldn't.
I don't want to grief my ADC at the start of the game. I haven't been willing to risk it yet.
Well, I mean, they could just.
Might as well do it now, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the.
I got an excuse.
Bear, I do want to
barely get
go ahead.
Speed in time, right?
I think you could get to speed for sure with the door and the pyro buff. I think you could get to speed easily. And maybe that would just have to be the start where you could go to speed. Soul Lane or Soul is blue, all that kind of stuff. Bear, I do want to get you involved a little bit here. I don't want to make you the spectator here on the
I've
podcast.
been waiting, but I think Vamp Shroud, I don't know why it costs $850.
It is expensive.
And I feel like
you
maybe
get
you can use it on like an awkward solo lane or something, but I feel like the prots are like kind of meh, and then the magical regen feels kind of bad too.
I have done in like RDO solo with Vamp Shroud, and that felt pretty good. Sustain felt good. You've got blue buff, so you're not noticing the lack of hard mana sustain MP5. But both the upgrades suck on RDO, so that doesn't feel so great.
Yeah, sure.
BaRRa, what about magical ADCs? As we're kind of going down these, I guess that we can get you involved that way. Sol, Chronos, Freya, are you going? I mean, you can still go Death Toll on those gods. You can go Ornate Arrow, all that kind of stuff that we were talking about last episode with Panda. But does Vampiric Shroud make its way into the duo lane on any gods, you think?
I think it might have room in Fury. It's one of those, like, maybe if you're against like one of those double fizz super aggro lanes, but I don't know if those are going to be that meta if you can't really invade level 1. And I think that's the only time that I would think about buying it, or if I was on like a scaling god that I know I can like get my purples and I just want to survive in the lane. But even then, I still think there's better like survivability items.
Yeah.
I do think Sacrificial Shroud's really good if you can get to that state of the game and have like 1 or 2 lifesteal items and purple boots. But outside of that, yeah, I think the other upgrade's like absolute garbage. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't know.
Yeah, it does not
like on paper, it just looks really bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think that for the most part, a lot of the same item but souped up upgrades have fallen a little bit flat for me. It's almost always like the 1B option that I've seen, like of things like Sacrificial Shroud. That I guess Archmage's Gem is really good, but I think Gem of Focus is also good. But we'll get there in a little bit. Let's move on to Sands of Time. 800 gold, 30 magical power, 5 MP5, 10% CDR, and you get 2 MP5 per 10% of your missing mana. I'm not going to ask you to defend this item, Hurry, because I think it's pretty much indefensible right now. So instead, let's talk about how it could become good. What would need to change on this item for it to be better, or even better on certain gods than Conduit Gem?
So the main thing, well, there's 2 big things, in my opinion. 3 even. One is the price, so you get less pots, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty big deal. You get like way less pots. And then the other things is, one, it's less clear by like a lot than Conduit Gem. And 2 is the actual mana sustain is a lot worse because it's conditional. Like when you're low mana, you get your MP5, whereas Conduit Gem is a flat amount. So it actually, I think you get from what I can tell and just gut feeling, I haven't actually like really like gone through and like checked, but it seems like you get a lot less mana with Sands of Time. So you just feel like you're hovering at low mana like you did before with Mage's Blessing, whereas Conduit Gem, I feel like I can actually like keep a healthy amount of mana for a long amount of time. Like you can stay out for full boots pretty reliably and like spend abilities like soloing mids or poking the other mid, and it doesn't feel like mana is like an issue as long as you're semi paying attention to it. And like I said, you have more pots too, so it just kind of loses on all fronts except for the CDR, because it's not the upgrades, from what I can tell, are not better either than either of the gem upgrades too. So it's kind of just impossible to justify.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
You'd have to bring down the price. You'd have to like up the conditional mana, and I think maybe it's an okay spot to change the upgrades as well. Like I don't know why. Like what is the alternate timeline is as bad as it is. I'm sure we'll get there, but.
Yes, yeah, we will get to alternate timeline. We'll talk Pendulum of Ages real quick first. 90 magical power, 20 MP5, 10% CDR. And this item grants 4 MP5 per 10% missing mana and 7 magical power per 10% available mana. So going this with Rod of Tahuti, you're basically full mana all the time with Rod. You would be full mana all the time with this as well. You get a good amount of magical power from it. You know, you're talking 150 plus from Pendulum of Ages, but when Archmage's Gem kind of just makes me do an extra 400 damage for my first ability, I'm kind of liking that a little bit more. And then alternate timeline, 45 power, 45 protections, 15 MP5, 10% CDR, and when you would die, instead You resurrect 1.75 seconds later. I don't know if this number got changed again. I'm on the initial patch notes. This has 25% health in mana. Only can occur once every 10 minutes. Feel like everyone initially was probably freaking out whenever, there's a very popular effect in League of Legends. Guardian Angel is a very high purchase rate item. Feels good in order to make it happen in whenever it works, but once every 10 minutes is a long time. That feels like a pretty long time for me. BaRRa, we can start with you. What did you think alternate timeline was going to be broken when you first read about it or heard about it, and what are your thoughts on it now?
I think it was OP until I saw this can only occur once every 10 minutes. Once I got to that part of the item, I was like, okay, that's absolute trash. I think if it cut down to maybe 5 minutes and you were playing like an AIDS character to dive like Afro or something along those lines, it'd be really good to buy it on that, because it's really hard to kill that character then.
Yeah.
But I mean, with it being at 10 minutes, there's really no reason to buy it currently, I think. And I was gonna ask you guys, how does it work on a god like Persephone?
You get alternate timeline first, and then Persephone passive, I believe is how it works.
Okay. Yeah, I believe it's before everything. So like Capriel, if you're Caprielted, you would actually like go into alternate timeline, and then maybe the Capriel could like time out or something.
Wait, so that would be it would be so annoying in comp against Kepri, like knowing that you got alternate timeline, then Kepri can just spam ult on you as you're rezzing if you're not getting absolutely steamrolled in the fight.
I think it's the only way it's useful, honestly. Because if there's a tank on me and I'm resurrecting with that much HP as like almost every character in the game, like I probably need to like beads out of it to like not get CC'd in a lot of situations. Like for me to be able to like revive and return damage, it needs to be like a carry like inted to kill me or something, or like a jungler inted to kill me is probably like the most common situation that it might create frustration. But I feel like the only time that it would probably be like super impactful with the way the effect is right now, like despite the 10-minute timer, which is clearly terrible, is like if you wait for it to get procced and then you shell them, or if you wait for it to get procced and then you Capriel them. And even then, I feel like the way like fights go in Smite, you want to be like ahead, not behind. So you'd want to like shell the blink right away when the jungler goes in, right? You want to put them behind and you don't want your carry to feel like they're in a desperate position. You want them to feel like confident. So Capriel maybe gives you another opportunity to like, if you miss the shell or something, or if you miss the Geb shield or something when they're low HP, like it has that potential, and I suppose that's the fun of the item. But in the PTS, a couple times people built it just to mess around with it. First of all, you had to like slug through the game with that starter item that is worse. So that's rough.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, every time it was like everyone would just laugh because you just crouch down, it was like it's like old Aegis, if anyone remembers. You crouch down, you'd stand up, and you die instantly every time. No, I didn't see it get good value one time. And I know it's like PTS, it's not like it's coordinated. People aren't like, I'm sure if you end up getting it and it gets buffed in the future, you'll kind of like plan and build around it a bit more. But at the same time, you don't see it procced very often. You don't get a lot of practice with it. So I don't know. I feel like if we get to Worlds a year from now and that item gets buffed and it gets changed, it could make for some like really hype plays as long as it gets like adjusted properly. But right now, it's just, I don't even know what you do like with it.
Yeah,
even if the proc rate is less. If it procced every fight, I swear it would be annoying, but it would not be impactful like 95 times out of 100. I would bet.
I think maybe if you're against like a full dive comp and they have to use like multiple blink / ults to kill you, or it's one of those games where like it's one of those fights where like as long as I stay alive, we'll win the fight. And I think that's the only argument to buy the item currently is in competitive, and that's in like a 1% situation where you might need it. I think I just don't think you get much value out of it. I think it's also kind of weird to have magical protections on it, because a lot of times you're getting dough by physicals, not magicals.
Yeah.
So I think maybe if it was like 60 and then like 30, like 60 physical prots and 30 magical prots, or maybe more CDR, and they didn't touch the 10-minute timer. But I think in its current state, it's you should never buy in like a casual game or like even a ranked game.
All right, I've broken the meta. I've figured out where this is for. Okay, this is I'm really not kidding by that much here. Wouldn't this be really OP on like Sobek solo? Like you start Sands of Time in solo lane, you're impossible to kill anyways, and then late game it just gives you free reign to hard int for plucks. Like hard int for plucks. Because by the time you pluck,
it's better on tanks. Good point.
Dude, I mean,
dude, you know Rainian's way ahead of you. My like second rank game I played, Rainian was playing Ymir solo Sands of Time, and I was like, what is this guy doing? You know he was building it for alternate timeline. And the thing is, if a tank is reviving in the middle of everyone, it actually requires attention, and he's actually kind of doing their job.
Yeah.
So you could just you could do it on Kuzembo. You just int into the middle of their team, do as much damage as you can, and they're like, finally we kill this guy after reflecting a bunch of damage, and you're get back up, ready to go again round 2, and you get way more value out of the percentage health like return, right? So maybe you got a point there. Although I don't like it because that is just not fun for anybody.
No,
except for the guy.
If you're reviving solo, just like get Hero's Axe or Sundering Axe.
Oh my god, bro. Okay, wait. I was talking about this on my stream for the pre-podcast, twitch.tv/Aggro, by the way. Check if you have Twitch Prime. Sundering Axe is the best item in the game, right? Like,
yeah.
It's the best item in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta be.
I don't understand.
It's gotta be, man.
No, okay, you go. I'll make my point later down the line. I've made enough points for now.
I don't get why the starters cost 600, but then the mage stars are 850 and 800 that we've talked about so far.
That's a good
250 gold difference at level 1 is kind of insane.
That is a good point.
And Sands of Time, I feel like, is a worse item than Warrior's Axe. And 200 gold more expensive.
What about Watchers, man? You think boots, too, at the start of the game with your starter item makes any sense?
Yeah, I played a few games as Ganesh, and I was like, this costs 500? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I feel like that should definitely go up, like, 200 gold at the very least.
I feel like there was just, like a tower of like gold from like cheap to expensive, and they just threw darts, and they were like, "This is how much this one's gonna cost. 850 Vamp Shroud. All right, that sounds good."
We're just gonna let it roll, baby.
It's a support love thing or something. Surely.
Yeah, supports love getting buffed and hate getting nerfed, more so than most roles.
OP roll.
I'd say OP roll has been forever, always will be. Okay, the other thing before we move on from alternate timeline, if you could pick a number on the cooldown of this item, where would it be good enough to buy but not frustrating? Obviously 10 minutes not good enough to buy. I think my gut feeling is I think it'd be good enough but not frustrating at 5 minutes. I think 5 would be my sweet spot. What do you guys think?
I would say 5. I would say 5. If it's OP at 5 and there's a lot of frustration at 5, then maybe 7.
Yeah, I was thinking 6, but I think 6 might not be good enough. So that's why I put 5. And also, selfishly, 5, very easy number to add on. You know, it's like everyone knows adding a number onto 5. I can just look at the clock and I can say, okay, 5 minutes from now, 6 minutes. What if someone makes a math mistake? You know, that's what I'm saying. T, your thoughts?
Yeah, 5 minutes is like every 3 team fights. That's pretty rough. I've played about 30 ranked games or something. I've had legitimately, I checked 2 games that have gone past 30 minutes. I know people are adjusting to the map. Things
no
are
way.
To be a bit more
Only
stable.
2?
2.
That
2
is
games.
Wild.
2 games.
Okay.
I had one
can't
today.
Be anything close to 10 minutes in its current state for people. I'm telling you, most of the time it doesn't do anything. It's not like
BA. Are the games good now, or are they still fiestas?
They're getting better slowly, but even with like I've had games with like 8, 9, maybe even 10 good like 10 like Masters Plus players in a game. It's just really fast paced is what it feels like to me right now. I've seen 2 enhanced fire giants, so I think it has to be really low cooldown. Like I think it needs to be up for every other fight. I think it needs to be like 4 minutes. Honestly, maybe like 3.5. I think it should be up like every other beads timer or something. I suppose, which I guess would be around 4 minutes, right? I guess it is close to 5, but
yeah, That's definitely interesting. BaRRa, I will say I played my first ranked games. If you've played no ranked games so far, it is still going to be, it will forever be a fiesta on your first few ranked games because you're 1500 MMR, you're not moving from there. Shout outs to my Benevolence Alquang jungle in the first game.
That comes online late, baby.
It didn't. That game went 50 minutes and it did not come online.
Okay.
Believe it or not, because
All right.
I was holding out hope for the same thing. All right, on the Conduit Gem. The item that you're going to see in 99% of your games right now, 30 magical power, 15 MP5. Every second you gain a stack, whenever you hit an ability, it removes that stack and does 2 true damage for all stacks. It can get up to 20.
True damage, baby.
Yeah, true damage, good. Conduit Gem, good. Is this effect just going to be too valuable? Like, getting one burst of damage on your clear, can something like 10% CDR even ever compete in a game that is so fast-paced right now and so dependent on clear? That's kind of my question. Like, this would, in my mind, you would have to, like, either reduce the amount of time that you get stacks, really nerf the magical power, and then leave it up to the stacks to do your clearing for you. Obviously, the MP5 is a little bit too high, but I think, like, in general, if pressure is what matters, and this gives you the most pressure, then it's still always going to be considered one of the best, right? That's just kind of my initial impression.
There seems to be a very lengthy point in the early game where Conduit Gem is making the difference between a whole extra ability on the wave.
Mm-hmm.
It's 40 extra damage on the wave, so that's going to be a long time. And if I have to spend even 3 more waves spending 1 extra ability on the wave, I'm already feeling pretty bad about it, and I'm pretty sure that number is more like 6 or 7. I'm not exactly sure on that number. This is, once again, just like gut feeling, but that is just too important. Like, if I have to wait around and Agni to the wave a second time versus it's already cleared, that's just too big of a deal, at least in the pace of the game right now. And no one wants to play slow and ranked, at least, right? Like, you want to be ahead. Okay, no one's playing, not very many people want to play to be behind. So if you're playing to be ahead and you want to be in the favorable position earlier in the game, it's really hard to justify not taking the, like, 40 damage proc. And to be fair, it's more than 40, right? Because you get 40 and then it's stacking maybe between your second ability, so you might get like 10 more or something damage on the wave. So it ends up being probably more like 50 on the wave, which is a lot of damage, especially like early game. Yeah,
it seems really good. BaRRa, this being the best one for mid lane, do you think that I mean, on magical ADCs, a lot of them, they kind of need that early attack speed or boxing power. This doesn't really give you any of those, but does it clear so much better that you would consider taking it for certain gods?
I would honestly try this on Soul. Because I feel like the MP5 is so good that it can gap the, like, lifesteal or sustain that you'd be missing from other items. And if you went, like, Tiny Trinket 1, you'd have health sustain and mana sustain. So, and your 2s would chunk with that early game.
Yeah.
So I think that would be good. I'm not sure if it'd be better, per se, but I think it'd be good. I don't think I would go on, like, Chronos or Freya, or definitely not Olo, I would say. But,
Soul, I was thinking about Soul the other day, BaRRa. Like, of the gods that get affected by the global anti-heal changes, I think Soul really gets hurt by it more than most. Like, not being able to 1 on your purple or something like that and, like, get good sustain while you're clearing, I think really hurts that god. I think she's not unplayable, but significantly worse from Season 7, where she already wasn't that good, if I
was about to say, significantly worse from, like, never being picked, you know?
Yeah.
That's already kind of rough. Yeah, I think I have to try a few builds with her to see if I could, but depends on the ADC meta, how aggressive it is for her capability of being played, I think.
I'd be very interested in your findings on those Soul experiments. Okay, going on to the Conduit Gem upgrades. Archmage's Gem and Gem of Focus. Archmage is very much just like the base Conduit Gem, except for it has 100 magical power, 25 MP5, and instead of gaining flat true damage on stack removal, you gain 2.5% of your magical power and that again stacks up to 20 times. So you can get an extra, 50% scaling on your abilities, which is obviously very good. That is up against Gem of Focus, which is 90 power, 150 health. And every time you cast an ability that costs mana, which is relevant for like Agni Bombs, you get a stack which can go up to 3 times of 3% movement speed, 3% damage increase, and 2% damage taken reduction. So 9% movement speed, 9% damage increase, and 6% less damage. I think the Gem of Focus, people in chat are talking about how it's bugged right now. We're saying in a world where it's working as correct. I think Gem of Focus, as good as Archmage's Gem is, it's obviously insane. I think Gem of Focus can compete on gods like Merlin, that are tossing out multiple abilities in a team fight multiple times, usually with pretty high CDR, can keep that stack up for the whole fight. What do you think, T? Are you an Archmage's only kind of guy, or are you getting swayed to the Gem of Focus?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. I'm convinced that like Merlin, for example, I can't really think of anyone else like really off the top of my head, unless it was like bugged and proccing on stance switches or something like that, that it would be better than Archmage and most other people. I mean, Archmage Gem, the proc, especially late game, if you have fire, you have red buff, you're a character like Scylla that has really high just base magical power because of your passive. And even gods without, just the proc alone puts you so far ahead in the team fight that it's hard for me to justify not going that item. Because sometimes in a fight, late game, people are playing careful, you might get like one proc, like you might hit like one ability, like every like few seconds.
Right.
And in that case, Archmage Gem is getting like way more value in my opinion. Like how many stacks of extra % magical power need to be applied to the abilities that are hit later in the fight for it to do more than like
50%
600, 700 damage that Archmage damage will do in the fight? I feel like it's a lot. And it depends on the character. But obviously, it's Gem Focus is doing other things too, right? It's giving you a movement speed and whatnot. So
right.
And has different stats on it too, so that's obviously part of it as well.
Yeah, someone in chat says Chang'e. That's definitely one that I think would be really good with Gem of Focus. Though, man, blink ulting an ADC with full Archmages, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, that's like 1100 something late game.
I don't know, Barry. What on your theoretical soul build? What are you going here?
I think there is no reason to not buy Archmages. I think unless you really, really need the movement speed, which I don't know on any characters that you would, I think Archmage is just easily better than Gem of Focus. I don't think the damage taken or damage taken reduction is enough. I think if that was slightly higher, but I don't think you'll really be feeling that. And I think, as Hurry was saying, like getting an opening ability that pokes that hard is huge in team fights, and will always be huge in team fights. Like if you get a tank or if you get a carry, like especially with like a Scylla 2 or like a Janus 2 or like a Janus ult, any like poking ability or like all-in ability, I don't think there's any reason to not buy Archmages.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like the gods that want to abuse movement speed, like Giannis, you're always going Archmage's Gem because you only have 2 damaging abilities and you want to one-shot with them. Maybe I played Poseidon and I got Archmage's Gem earlier today. Maybe Gem of Focus would be better for the movement speed.
He's kind of like Brawly, so it might be good for like the damage increase and damage reduction.
Poseidon is a character where I wish Conduit Gem wasn't just better, because I feel like he would synergize a lot better with like the effects, assuming they were stronger of some of the other items, right?
Yeah, like Vampiric Shroud.
Either one really fits him very well, I don't think. Like, your Whirlpool proccing the Archmage like just doesn't seem like it feels very good to me. I mean, it's not bad, obviously, but
yeah, maybe something like, honestly, Poseidon getting in there, cracking frontliners, getting an alternate timeline increase, like proc. Now you're zooming as soon as you get out of there. Maybe that's something that he could see once, assuming alternate timeline gets to be in a stronger spot. Those are the default ones, but I did want to ask you, I saw Ven playing a lot of Mannequin Scepter mid laners, including Poseidon. Wasn't as much of a fan of that one, but I loved the Mannequins Morrigan that I saw him playing. Are there gods besides Morrigan? First of all, do you agree that Mannequins on Morrigan is something that's viable at a high level? And do you think there are any other mid laners that Mannequins might be the call on?
I don't think Mannequins should be built on more again.
Dude, it's good. It's OP.
I think you could like cheese a game with it maybe. Mannequins definitely can be built on characters that honestly kind of says a lot more about the strength of the item right now, I think, than it does about like the item itself. But if you're playing like an auto tech based character, I think you're more looking towards like Sol, Kronos, maybe Oleron, probably Oleron actually. Just because the item, like I think all the strong starter items right now, it has a good starter like item version, and it has good upgrades as well. Like Mannequin kind of like sets out to do what its job is, even in the late game. Like you're doing like 1.5 times the amount of your auto damage to like Fire Giant, for example, with it, and that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of accomplishing what you were meant to do with the item, which is get ahead, and it's helping you do that more by the time you get to late game. And I think characters like Solar Kronos, characters that already shred objectives when they have that item, or Oleron, is just really crazy. So yeah, I would probably recommend just going that item right now on those characters if you're going to be playing them in mid. And I think it kind of makes them a little bit stronger. It helps you close out games. It helps you split push as well. If you're that kind of player, which hopefully, you know,
hopefully you're not.
I don't want to be giving you guys any advice or stuff like that, but I have already seen, you know, without being able to provide any clips, some pretty crazy stuff with those characters and Mannequin Scepter just destroying Phoenixes. I don't want to see an upgraded FG, enhanced FG Kronos just running over to my Phoenix with upgraded Mannequin Scepter and killing it and actually like 4 autos. Like I just don't want to be seeing that, but it's possible. I'm pretty sure right now. So
yeah, that is not what you're looking for. What was I going to ask something and now I forget. All right, well, we'll just move on from whatever my fake question was to my real question. Mid lane, obviously very strong. You and I were talking about this before the podcast earlier on today and in the past as well. Mid feels like in ranked, really, really good. One of the most impactful roles right now. For those mid lane mains who want to start climbing early in Season 8, what gods and what strategies would you advise to do that with? And I'm also going to be taking notes. It's totally unrelated.
Yeah, I would just play characters. Yeah, we didn't talk about like exact build path very much, but the pretty common build path right now is Rod, or like you go Lost Artifact Conduit Gem, you go cooldown boots into Rod to Hootie Rush into Deso. Some people go Deso first. Kind of depends on what you want to do. I prefer Rod because you get more mana sustain. And I think characters that are strong with that build are going to be characters that are really strong right now. Merlin was buffed with his Fire Stance right now. It's a lot more reliable. You stack up the dot faster. So that character, in my opinion, is really good because he's also very good with Rod. He's also very good with Deso. I think Thoth is good with that. I think Janus, I don't exactly know what build you go on Janus right now. I think you could probably build a lot of things and it's fine. I think Janus is a very strong ranked character in general as long as you're comfortable with him. And he's obviously a more consistent character now, so I don't mind recommending him. Persephone is still very good. We'll see, you know, if she ends up getting changed like they said, but for right now, she's still extremely strong. And then I think if you want to play the healers, you can probably play them right now until people start building anti-heal, which they're not. So I think all those characters are still good. I've definitely missed some characters. I think some people I saw Ben doing some pretty crazy stuff with Deso procs on Raijin.
Yeah.
And Nuwa actually as well, I think, is exceptionally strong.
Yeah.
Is exceptionally strong with, you know, I made a tweet earlier with a really low quality GIF, so don't go look at it, but with Archmage Gem, Soul Gem, and potentially like a Rod passive, you're just doing an unbelievable amount of damage. I personally, once you get late game, I just Aegis it every time because you're out of the fight. I mean, it does 60-70% of your health. I'm pretty sure it can do more than that if you've got 3k pot, red buff, upgrade FG. You might be able to one-shot somebody. I'm not sure. You can test it maybe and let us know, but that character is definitely stronger, especially with the items that are strong right now as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about Raijin because he got buffed coming into this season. I haven't seen anybody talking about him, but he feels good. Like I played a couple games with him. He feels really, really good right now, and he feels that he does the same things. I mean, he uses Rod really well, uses Deso pretty well. The guy who you would think would be doing well right now because he uses Rod better than anybody except for maybe Nuwa, and he uses Deso really well as Zeus. But I think Zeus is complete dog water. He's horrible.
He's too the lane sucks right now for mid as well. Like if you were used to the safety before, you are much easier to gank. And a character like Zeus that has to kind of like play up and like auto attack to clear is gonna struggle with getting ganked right now, I think. So that's one thing. Like Anubis as well kind of has the same problem you mentioned a bit before, but safe clear is probably more valuable now than it used to be too. So Zeus, unfortunately, easy to gank. And unfortunately, Aggro
feels bad.
Trash.
Man. He's so bad. He's so bad.
Okay, with mid lane opening back up, does that open hunters in the mid lane back up?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I think as well, if it wasn't already an idea, you know, it should pop up in most people's heads. You know, pro play won't be in for a while, but I don't feel bad saying it all right now. Cowl kind of opens up with its upgrades, double hunter a bit more, I think. Just double backline auto attackers, you know, maybe doesn't have to be 2 hunters. But I think with that item, especially, and some of the aura stuff going on, you could definitely see hunters. I mean, hunters are obviously like a few of the picks people playing mid a lot safer than some of the mages too. And I think their build path is also pretty strong right now with some variability. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see hunter mids returning. I've already tried them a bit and they seem pretty strong to me. So.
Yeah, I was a little worried because the whole reason like they split up the mid harpies and built the wall on Gold Fury side was so like pressure mids would fall off, and then in this season I feel like they just kind of opened it back up for hunters. So I'm a little worried about that meta because it's a little, I would say like lame, but it feels, I don't say cheesy either, but it just feels bad, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like hunters in mid. I think it's just a lame meta.
Something like, I mean, he's a little bit higher risk, but with how much farm mid laners are getting right now, being able to go like Bluestone AMC in mid and just, if you get ahead on that character, you probably just absolutely pound, and then your hunter goes Cowl so that you can get the attack speed aura later on. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One thing about Mannequin as well, people are going in, you just one-shot buffs too. I killed red buff and like 4 autos this time. It's level 1, like by myself. Sticking for 44 on the buff. Level 1. It's more than my autos do, so that kind of leads to snowball, I think, a little bit too. So you can build Bluestone. I'm going to one-shot my buff and your buff potentially as well.
Well, you have flat damage reduction, so my bees aren't.
And my upgrades aren't trash like Bluestone as well. Okay, no. Don't be telling people to go Bluestone.
Dude, Aggro. AMC with corrupted Bluestone stealing attack speed, that's good.
Sure. It could be okay. Sure. You guys try it out. Get back to me in Aggro and just let us know how it goes.
Okay, just give me like a 3-level lead. Just give me like a 3-level lead, and I like my odds. Okay? That's all I'm saying. 3 levels. That's all I need.
Mannequin steals your attack speed level 1, but that's fine.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Anyways, last question before we get into the random question because really I'm just trying to buy time. And I also actually don't know this because I was talking about it on my stream, again, twitch.tv/aggro. If you do need anti-heal, with the common build path being Conduit Gem, Lost Artifact, Cooldown Boots, Route to Hootie, Deso, and then you kind of want like Soul Reaver in that slot. If you, in a game where you need Divine, where do you build it? Do you just have to skip Deso or what?
Yeah, you do.
Feels bad, man.
By 3 items, if you don't have Divine, I feel like you've kind of missed the boat with getting like the value out of that item. I mean, if you have to build late game, like I've done it before, but if you really do truly need Divine, you will be seeing everyone by the time you build 3 items. And so at that point is when you're getting the most value out of the item. And in my opinion, it's kind of convenient that Deso is kind of core right now for building Divine. At least that's what I typically say. Because you can just easily trade it out. It's another flat pen item. It does feel particularly bad with Divine just saying 30% now instead of 40%, and with Deso just being such a fun item with the way, you know, it's working right now. You know, I had a fight. I just got to say this, okay? I had a fight. I Janus ulted at the start of the fight. We killed 4 people, and I Janus ulted again to chase the last guy. And that is just too fun. Okay? Yeah. But you have to kill people to get the Deso proc. So if you're not going to be killing them without the Divine, you know, just go it, okay? Right now we're getting away with it, but I'm telling you, fellow mid laners, you will not get away with it forever. Right now, you have the excuse, but I'm telling you, I'm already hearing the murmurs of, you know, where's our anti-heal?
Oh, that's the worst.
And, you know, that will weigh on your mental, so you will have to eventually start getting used to buying it, especially, like, people are going Soul Eater and stuff, like, things that weren't going before, because there's always anti-heal. I think we're gonna have to just see like a shift in balance, people building it again once they've had their fun. So we'll see though.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're going to be looking at, I'm sure. Also, before the random question, someone in my chat at twitch.tv/Aggro told me to ask Hurry about his ice cream date with Nika.
Sure, I said I'd take his sweet behind to the ice cream store later. You know, I know he's going to be available, so I'm going to be picking him up. So I'll see him there. I don't know what. I don't want to get anyone demonetized here. So
well, I appreciate the thought. What kind of ice cream are you going to get though? That's important here.
Usually what I do is I'll let them go first, and I'll kind of gauge, you know, what kind of person they are off theirs. And that way, like, I can. Well, yeah, I don't want to give away all my secrets, but you know.
Okay, let's say you're going by yourself to get ice cream, T. What kind of ice cream?
Okay, thank you. That helps me decide. Yeah, no, I'm like an Oreo kind of guy. I like getting like Oreos and stuff, or like peanut butter. I don't like getting like double. A lot of people like a bunch of fudge and a bunch of chocolate all together. I think it's a little too much. You know, I like doing some other stuff, even some butterscotch or something thrown in there. I don't know.
Oh my.
Well, if you're gonna go to Andy's,
if I'm feeling it, I don't know.
If you're gonna go to Andy's, the frozen custard place that's by the studio, that's my favorite spot to get ice cream here. They've got these like, they're kind of like Dairy Queen blizzards. They call them concretes, and I go vanilla, caramel, and pretzel chunks. That's what I go with. A little bit of sweet and salty. It's perfect.
We almost made it through the whole podcast without a bad take, but here we are.
I do not agree with that.
Wait, there is no way you guys think caramel pretzel vanilla is a bad flavor.
You could have anything. This wasn't like your limited options.
Nope.
Like,
nope.
Who would you rather run over with the train? Okay, no one's forcing you to say what you just said, which is what's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bad take. Why would you want that? Like, okay, there is like salted ice cream or whatever, but this is like, you want a chunk of pretzel in your ice cream.
Yes, that's literally exactly what I want. Not even kidding. Exactly what I want.
I agree. Like, peanuts makes more sense to me. Like,
crunchy. It's saltier than peanuts. Pretzels and ice cream is delicious, dude. It's delicious.
I don't want a cherry in my ice cream. Okay,
me neither.
Pretzels.
Okay, man. I don't understand how those two are similar at all. All right, that brings us to our random question of the day. I didn't know what to ask, but now I do. You're going to one of those like candy shops, right? The ones that have like a bunch of fudge and ice cream and like chocolate covered Oreos, lollipops, sure, all that kind of stuff. The whole kit and caboodle. What are you getting inside that candy shop? What are your favorite things that you could go for there? BaRRa, let's start with you. You're gonna go off first.
Yeah, I've been listening to bad takes about ice cream. Anything sour. Anything to rot and ruin my teeth.
Okay.
I don't think I'd get like chocolate or like other candies besides.
You're not a fudge guy?
Not really. I have to be like craving it, you know.
I love fudge.
Like, I have to see it and be like, oh my gosh, I really want some fudge, but I'm not really in that mood a lot. Like, I would rather like cause harm to myself by eating sour stuff than like eat a big block of fudge.
Well, in some ways, you would cause harm to yourself by eating the fudge. Don't sell yourself short. You know, that's not exactly something great.
It's like a slow pain, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of sits there on you. Also, I didn't want to interrupt them about. Okay, yeah, never mind.
No. I don't want to. Don't please. The floor is yours, John. Go ahead.
Okay, well then your pretzel ice cream take was just one of the worst takes you've ever had, and I do not think that you should ever put pretzels in ice cream. And I just think that is an awful take, and I'm sorry, but that is just what it is. I didn't want to interrupt you guys because you were like, you know, battling back and forth, but that is a very bad take.
And don't try to defend yourself.
I'm right, you're wrong. That's I'm
You'll get your one guy or your two guys that are sympathizing with you in the comments. I will be downvoting you. I will be finding you, and I will be downvoting you. Okay. You're just trying to get brownie points, okay? He's not gonna. Well, he might.
I'll read it.
He'll probably remember your name, but he's not gonna like you that much more. Maybe 1 or 2%, and you're gonna be downvoted. So no one's even gonna see what you said. So
it's so crazy to me that you guys are so willing to be so wrong on this topic. And you know what? I'm proud of you guys. You know, be yourselves.
Thank you.
Even when you're just embarrassing yourselves.
Shameless and bold.
Okay, I'll try it. Okay.
Barry, it's delicious. You're gonna love it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you say pretzels, do you mean like pretzel sticks or like pretzel pieces like a normal like pretzel?
I think that at this place it's like the little, I guess they're kind of whole pretzels, like the small versions though, like the small little mini version pretzels. But like pieces of pretzel stick is very common when you're putting them in ice cream. Like breaking up a pretzel stick and putting them in there that way. That's very good. I can definitely get down with that.
I was just picturing like a giant stick. Sorry.
No.
I'm pretty sure, Aggro, in the last horror movie I watched, they fed that to the kid at the bottom of the well.
Man, I thought I didn't sign away my rights for that movie, but I guess they'll be hearing from my lawyers. All right, T, you're going into the big candy shop. I picture these at the beach. They're very common in like the Outer Banks, which is where I vacationed a lot as a kid. What are you getting? Are you a fudge guy? You a candy guy? What are you going for?
Yeah, I think I would go like, something like sour or sweet. Like, I like stuff that has like a sweet
like
filling or something. It's like sour on the outside and there's like a sweet filling or something. Like, just whatever. You looking at it and you're thinking like, that's my day's worth of calories like in a bag, and you just don't care because it looks so good. And who cares, you know? Yeah, something like that. You know, it did remind me of, by the way, do either of you guys like raw? It's like, what is it? Like raw crystal candy? I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about?
I used to like it when I was a kid.
At amusement parks?
No.
That stuff is terrible. I just got to say that. I don't know
terrible.
if there's a spokesperson for it. I'm willing to be. It's awful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's terrible.
It's so
Sometimes
bad.
It doesn't taste that bad, but overall, I agree. It's like a C tier, maybe D tier, C minus.
Nothing I want to do.
Because the parents aren't going to eat it, okay? And the kids look at it and it looks good,
Yeah.
okay?
It does look
and
good.
it's cheap.
Yep.
And so it's just a scam, right? Because you get the kids to buy it. The parents sure as hell aren't going to eat it. Okay, and the kids are stuck with it. And what are they going to do? They're not the ones paying.
They're going to have to get it. If you want pure sugar, cotton candy's the way to go. You know what I mean? Cotton candy, good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, cotton candy's okay. It's fine.
I like cotton candy.
Sometimes it doesn't have like much flavor. You're just like chewing through nothing.
Yeah, but it's like you put it in your mouth and it melts away, and that's fun. You know what I mean?
The eating experience of cotton candy is fun, right?
That is fun. I went to a restaurant one time that as a dessert, they had cotton candy with Pop Rocks in it. So it would dissolve away and then the Pop Rocks would activate. And it was pretty wild. It was pretty cool.
That's kind of cool.
If I'm going in there, get ready to roast me again.
No.
If I'm going in there, first of all, I'm getting some fudge. You know I am. Milk chocolate's my favorite. I'm just going milk chocolate fudge. But my favorite thing that's covered in chocolate, the best thing that you can put underneath chocolate is a pretzel. Chocolate covered pretzels are a flawless treat. Flawless. They're so good. It's got everything you want, man. It's got everything you could ever need all built in right there. It's crunchy. It's salty. It's sweet. I love pretzels. I love them. And I'm sick of pretzel slander. I saw someone in chat earlier say pretzels in general are just bad. That's an ice cold take. Pretzels are delicious. They're phenomenal.
I wouldn't say it's like the best snack ever.
No, they're worse
they're
than potato
good.
chips. They're worse than potato chips. But they're...
Yeah, you buy them. If you're buying a pretzel, right, you're not like, I'm getting what I want to eat. Unless you're like...
I am. Are you kidding me, man? There's little
I'm
sourdough
talking about
nubs.
normal people, okay?
You know those little, like
if you're trying to be,
those
I'm saying you're
nubs
trying to
of
be
sourdough
healthy.
pretzels?
You're trying to be healthy. Like, it's not the one thing you'd pick, okay? There's people
They aren't
out there
bad
that are
for
like...
you.
If you could pick anything, like, it doesn't matter like how bad it is for you, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm not picking pretzels.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
like, you wouldn't pick pretzels.
a big-
So why, if it's not what you would pick, would you put it with your fudge? Surely there's something else. If you could pick anything.
Because it is better. It is literally better. It's literally better than anything else. Like,
I mean, isn't this just a variation of the take from the last time I was on?
Yeah.
When what was it, take fives or something?
Yeah.
That I'm sure have been discontinued because nobody wanted them. Okay.
no, they're still there.
I
saw them in the store yesterday.
There was a carbon copy of you, okay, somewhere in the world that thought it was a good idea, that had too much money and too much power, and that's what they decided to do. And I'm sure that no one buys them, and I'm sure it's a huge conspiracy. Those have been sitting on the shelves for years. No one is buying them, okay? It's only you, but they keep them there for that guy's ego and to make you feel validated in your opinion. And the truth is, Aggro, it's not good, and nobody likes them. Okay, maybe one guy. There's probably one guy, like I said, like the guy that I'm gonna have to downvote in your YouTube comments that says they like them. You don't, and you don't, or you don't exist.
Well, you know what?
Your Aggro's alt account.
You know who the person that everyone's gonna have to answer to is?
Good
Sam.
Lord.
Sam for Soccer is a pretzel fan, and he's there right there with me. He's agreeing with me. Chocolate covered pretzels are goated, and that's how we're gonna end the show. Thanks,
that's a
everyone.
contrarian.
Yep. No, Sam's just smarter than everyone else, and that's the end of that. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching. Make sure you guys are following along with the prediction channel. They're doing great stuff with a bunch of different esports, so make sure you're tuning in. I guess we're going to do jungle or support next time, BaRRA. Which one do you want to do next, jungle or support?
We'll say, wait. Do you know who you're getting yet?
No clue. I never know until, like, T, what time did I message you today? Like 1 p.m.?
I just assumed it's because I was one of the last options. But yeah, it was like...
You were the first person I messaged, and I mean that sincerely. Though after getting dunked on by you at the end of the show, I wish I would have gone with someone different.
They're both, like,
At least
the
you're
biggest...
being honest now.
You guys gotta, like, hash this out afterwards, man. There's some tension here.
Listen, man.
Hey, it's typical between us, okay? Like, it's nothing new.
Just two Alpha Janus players trying to battle for position, you know? Nothing wrong with that. What you were saying, BaRRA, you want to do support next?
Yeah, I think support. I think we'd have to get a really big brain jungler to, you know...
Yeah, I'll see when Scream is. I'll see when Scream is available.
I was thinking.
Yeah, Scream is definitely the one I'm thinking instantly. That's one to watch out for. Though next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, I plan on being unavailable to do the podcast that night. So we're gonna have to move that one a little bit. BaRRA, is that okay with you? You seemed a little upset.
That's fine. I didn't know where that was going.
Fair enough. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure you give us a rating, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next time here on the Backliners.
Wait, was I supposed to?
Yes, you're supposed to.
You didn't hand it out. I thought you were gonna keep going.
You complain when I call for it, and now you complain when I don't, man. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
I'm still sitting here, guys. Like, can you get this done or what? I got places to be.
I was waiting for the.
BaRRA, do the thing.
Bye.
Good God, man.
I can't see you.